Okay, so what you'll notice first is that we have an excellent interface. You'll see the website. Featured stories are at the top of the website. You can see here that there are different topics, and when I hover over it, it pauses. I can also go back and see some other stories. And of course, I also have down here, you see you can also subscribe to the podcast on the front of the page. Subscribe to the newsletter, say updated events, etc., jobs, whatever. Then we have an area for the latest story where you can get the latest information for whatever story just happened. We also have a few other aggregated news outlets. These are some of the other print ones, but they're aggregated here, so you can see those are here. Then we also have here, you can see we divided it by country location at the top, and the stories that go with each country are there. So you can see tallest school building in the world, talk about the OECD in Singapore, stories in Europe. So whatever category it falls into, it kind of goes underneath there. You can also see we have some tweets down here. Then moving up to the top, we also have a section for opinions and stories. I imagine this being a lot more about opinion pieces, fun, kind of funny things, kind of a BuzzFeed-ish section of the website to kind of attract more of the younger audience. So I'm hoping that eventually there's a bit more satire that goes into this, kind of putting in this onion BuzzFeed type of thing that will happen here. I'm trying to actually hire other people to generate that content. And you'll notice, of course, first in the news section, if you click news, you'll go down. This area is kind of blog style. And so you'll see like all of the stories that we've done so far. Kenyan teacher strike, tallest school buildings in the world, student lead education and constitutional reforms in Chile, why most international students prefer the U.S., different stories like that. Then you go to events, and you can see that we have a running calendar here. And this calendar, you can even connect to your own personal calendar, which is a great part. And you can see that there are conference lists listed here, different things happening in different times. And of course, you can see like times for them. You can click them. You can see where they are. When you go into each one, it can even add it to your own personal calendar, which is great. You can extract this calendar. You can export months events into like your own event calendar thing that you want to keep up with. So yeah, we make it kind of convenient for people. You can view it as month, you can view it as day, or list, day, whatever. Any way that you want to view that. Then you can check our podcasts. And you can see here on the podcast page, we have all the podcasts. If you don't want to watch the video parts, you can always just go ahead and do the podcast. You can just kind of listen to the podcast itself. So it'll just play, and you can kind of hear the music.
After years of heavy brain drain, where high populations of Asian students.
So that's kind of part of the podcast. And you can see we kind of aggregate all of our podcast content here. And we also have them available on iTunes or Android or email, whatever way you want it. And then we also have career page. You can post a job or you can search for jobs. So people can post jobs and search for jobs here. All of our jobs are related to the international field, international development, whatever, education. So we have, assistant director positions, video interns, work readiness trainer, anything that you can think of that, these organizations, for example, like NASFA, St. John's in Rome, these are all like different International Rescue Committee. We take all their information and aggregate it here. And then, of course, we are trying to raise a little bit of funds, so we have this here, and more about us is listed on the website as well. And this is kind of it in a nutshell. If you click here, you can see that you're able to subscribe to us on iTunes, if it'll load. So you can see here's the iTunes link. I don't want to launch anything right now. And you can see here that through this, you can go directly to our iTunes page, come directly to your phone, whatever. All these things come directly to you instead of you having to go to it. Going back. And I guess I haven't shown you all any of the videos, so I'll just go through that for like 2 seconds, hopefully. So let's say I am interested in this, not this last story. Let's say I'm interested in, what story can we do? Let's go down. Why most international students choose the United States. I can see there's a transcript here for people who can't watch the video.
That international students brought just over $27 billion to the U.S. economy in 2014 alone. So it comes as no surprise that institutions around the world are actively trying to attract students from abroad. This week, the Australian International Education Conference is tackling this very question. So in response, we took to a top university in New York City to learn why international students chose to be here.
So the US provides the best financial aid, in my opinion. Of course, Australia would have been cheaper, but the financial aid provided by this institution as such was more than enough to help me come here, which the UK does not provide for international students. It's very tough. It's much more accessible here.
We did evaluate options in Australia, UK, as well as Germany. But the thing is, for some cases, it's the language which might be different, and the programs do not have the kind of syllabus and portions that we kind of get here. So we just decided to choose US.
For me, it's like I know how graduate school works in China, and somehow want to experience some different culture and some different academical environment. And to some extent, it's also because of my professor.
So as you can see, like each story is kind of formatted in the same way. And what we do the interviews, we pick up the topics, we talk to different people, then we write out the transcripts here. And you can see that if someone wants to, they can just follow the transcript instead of watching the whole video. But we make everything available and easy for the consumer.